Hi there! I finally finished this tutorial and it was a lot of work to put it together, so I really hope you get something out of this video. And if you do so, a like is really appreciated. What I can say is that I learned a lot making this video. The timestamps in the description, and I'm not a financial advisor and the crypto market is largely unregulated, so always ask your financial advisor. If you want to start trading crypto, you're watching the right video, because FTX is the perfect exchange for trading crypto. And FTX is an overall good exchange, and according to this website it's listed third with an 8.3, and after this video you will understand that for trading crypto FTX is the #1 exchange. And in this video you'll find literally everything you need to know to start trading on FTX, with some tips and tricks so you won't make the same mistakes that I did. And the reason I started trading on FTX is the advanced orders, which makes trading easier, the low trading fees and also low margin costs, a very easy to use platform, and if you stake more than 25 FTT, you get free crypto withdrawals. Before you put your hard-earned money on FTX, you would like to know, what for exchange is it? Well, FTX is founded by Sam Bankman-Fried in 2018, and Sam has a degree in physics, and before he founded FTX, he was a trader and he traded different ETFs, so different markets. And that Sam was a trader you can find back in their mission, because it says built by traders for traders. And they managed to create a very simple platform, so it's suitable for first-time users, but there's also some advanced stuff going on. So FTX is founded in 2018, and I will show super fast some history about FTX, because in August 2020 FTX acquired Blockfolio, a crypto portfolio tracking app, for $115 million. So within 2 years FTX was already growing and expanding. And in April of 2021, FTX signed a 19-year sponsorship agreement worth $135 million. And it's about the naming rights of the Miami Heat Stadium. So it's now the FTX Arena. And I want to point out it's a 19-year agreement. So FTX is really thinking and investing long term. And they did the same for the naming rights of TSM, which is a 10-year contract worth $210 million. And in July 2021, FTX raised $900 million in a funding round, the largest funding round in crypto history at that time. And this $900 million was coming from 60 investors. So big money is putting their faith in FTX, and they're valuing FTX at that time at $18 billion. And in the same article, FTX says that they want to invest that money in new products, both globally and in the United States. And there's a difference between the two. I will come back to that. And FTX would like to be a top global exchange in 2 years. And I think they already are. And they did another funding round in January 2022. They raised $400 million, valuing FTX at $32 billion. So the value of FTX went up. And here FTX, or actually Sam Bankman-Fried himself, said that FTX will look to continue interacting with regulators to facilitate access to digital assets in a safe and compliant manner. And this is very important for me, because Bankman says that he wants to work together with regulators. And I think that's very important for crypto to move forward. And as Bankman-Fried said, development of products globally and in the United States. And the reason why he says that is that there are two exchanges, FTX International and FTX US from the United States. And the reason why there's a different exchange for the United States is because of regulation. The regulation in the United States is more strict. So you will find that some products in the United States are not available. Maybe less leverage, no perpetual futures. But also for FTX International, because I know that in the United Kingdom, they don't offer perpetual futures. So there you find again that FTX wants to work together with regulators and offer the products which are allowed in that country. And when you open an account, you gotta make sure you use the discount link in the description for a 5% lifetime discount on your trading fees. And for FTX International, you should use the lifetime discount for you link. And for the United States, you should use the discount for US link. And I've made a very short tutorial if you want to be 100% sure you get the 5% discount. Link is in the top right corner. And to make this list complete, I need to talk about Alameda Research, which is the liquidity provider for FTX International and FTX US. And according to their own website, ftx.com, where it says that Alameda has become the largest liquidity provider and market maker in the space, and that they account for 50% of all global stablecoin volume, which is really a lot. So there you have it. All three organizations are founded by Sam Bankman-Fried, and with this, he created a very powerful structure for a crypto exchange. To summarize the history or the developments of FTX is that big money is investing into FTX. Maybe they are recognizing that it's a very powerful structure. The exchange is backed by Alameda Research for its liquidity. They're developing new products. FTX Pay, I think, is a very, very promising one. They're branding their name to a wide public and also in the long run. They work together with regulators. I think this is also very important in the long run. And furthermore, it's a very good exchange, which you hopefully will understand after this video. But a topic I would like to mention first is the security. Because safety first. And safety is very important if you're dealing with crypto. And it of course starts with a very strong password. And you can change your password over here. And by the way, I'm under account, under settings, under the security tab. So then you know where I am. FTX demands that when you want to trade crypto, that you activate the two-factor authentication. So that adds another layer of security. And if that doesn't feel safe enough, you can set a separate password for withdrawals only. And therefore, a two-factor authentication is also required. And if that's not enough, you can whitelist the address you send it to. So when you want to withdraw crypto, you have to use a separate password, two-factor authentication, and then you can send it to an address which you already put in. And that address is of course at a different exchange, but also in your possession. And by making this video, I realized because I didn't activate it, why didn't I activate it? Because safety first. So after this video, I will make sure I have a different password for withdrawals. And furthermore, when logged into a new device or in a different country, email approval is required. So FTX put a lot of effort in making your crypto safe at their exchange. So how can you make a deposit? At first, I will explain the different registration level. And this table is from the FTX website, and I simplified it a bit, and then it looks like this. And you have 3 registration levels, and the first is unverified, and you only have to give up your email address and a strong password. And with that, you can check out the platform. So it's not possible to deposit, to withdraw, or to trade any crypto. And when you would do this, you gotta make sure you use the discount link in the description for a lifetime 5% discount on your trading fees. Because if you don't do that and you upgrade later, you will not get the 5% discount. And with KYC 1, you're able to deposit and withdraw crypto, although deposits for crypto are maximum $2,000 per day, and you're not able to deposit or withdraw fiat. And if you then upgrade to KYC 2, you can unlimited deposit and withdraw crypto and fiat. I will start with the fiat deposit. And on the FTX platform, you have to go to wallet and click on portfolio. Then you will jump to your main account. And I always deposit and withdraw to my main account. And I then transfer my assets to my Subaccounts. So that's the reason why there's nothing in my main account. And if you would like to do a fiat deposit, you can click on fiat. And then all the fiat currencies which you can deposit are listed. For example, the US dollar. And you click deposit. And then it will show you all the possible ways to deposit US dollars. You could even use credit card, but I'm not sure if buying crypto on credit is a good thing. So you most probably would like to use the deposit fiat wire. And then you click it, then you have to fill in an amount. and it will show you all the wires instructions. And for every currency, the instructions are different. So read them carefully, or you could ask the support desk for help. They're always willing to help. You need a KYC2 registrations, and if you don't have the KYC2 registration, it will show a pop-up and you can click it and you can just follow the instruction and create that KYC registration. And for me, I would like to deposit euros because I live in the Netherlands and there we have the euro. And then you click the deposit for the euro. It will show all the options. And again, you have the deposit via wire, but you also have the SEPA or SEPA instant and SEPA slow. And I like to use the SEPA instant. Then you have to choose your country, fill in the amount, and then just follow the instructions and then it will work. Although the first time it went wrong, and the reason is that the name of my FTX account and my bank account were not exactly the same. On my FTX account, it was my first and my last name. And on my bank account, it was the first two letters of my two first names and my last name. I hope you're following me, but it means they're not exactly the same and then it will fail. So you gotta make sure that your name on FTX and your bank account is exactly the same and then it will work. And if you want to deposit a currency which is not in this list, you can use other fiat and use this button and then it's directly converted into US dollars. And then we move to the crypto deposit. And I always deposit and withdraw from my main account, but for this video I will deposit to my sub account which is called testing. And I will deposit some USD Tether, USDT. And therefore you click the button deposit and then it shows the networks which you can use, and every network has its unique code. So let's say you would like to use the Ethereum network, then you copy the code, then you go to the exchange you would like to withdraw from, and that it's Binance because I used to have a Binance account. Then you make sure you select the correct coin, which is USDT, then you paste the code, then you select the correct network, which is Ethereum. And then you see that the minimum withdrawal is 50 euros, because if I type 40, it will say that it needs to be 50. And it needs to be 50, and then you see you have to pay a $10 fee, and I think that's pretty a lot. So maybe we should try the Tron network, and then we copy the code for that network. Then we go back to this exchange, we delete this code, then we paste the Tron code, then we select the Tron network, and then you see I only have to pay $1 in fees for this transaction, which I think is much better. And then you click withdraw, and 3 minutes later there is already the 49 USDT arrived in the sub account testing. So that's how you deposit crypto on FTX. And withdrawing crypto is exactly the same, but the other way around. So then you click withdraw, and you have to fill in an amount. Let's say 30, I don't know what the minimum is. And then here you have to paste the address where you will send it to. And it has to be the USDT address. So if you would like to send it to Binance, you have to get the USDT address from Binance, paste it over here, select the correct network, because if you don't, there's a high probability your crypto will get lost. Maybe it helps that you save the address, and maybe then give it the name of the coin you're gonna send and the network you're gonna use with some name. And you can whitelist this address so that you can only send crypto to this address. And then you fill in the verification code. If you then click withdraw, within a few minutes the crypto is at the other account. And if you stake FTT, this transaction could be completely for free. I will talk about it later. And what I forgot to mention, and what's really important, that every network has its unique address, like you can see here, but every crypto also has its unique address. So if you would look at Bitcoin, for example, you could see that the networks are different, but this is a unique code for Bitcoin using this network. So be really aware that you use the right address for deposits and withdrawals. But maybe you would like to withdraw to a normal bank account in normal dollars or euros or a different currency. Then you have to click on Fiat. and then all the fiat currencies are listed, which you can withdraw. And I would like to withdraw in euros because I live in the Eurozone. And then a warning pops up because not every bank facilitates this transaction. So you should check that with your bank. Then you have to fill in the amount, let's say 500 euros. You can choose between SEPA or international wire. I choose SEPA. And you have to fill in your bank information and your name and your address. And be aware that your name has to be exactly the same on your normal bank account and on your FTX account, as I said earlier. And you could save this address. So once you did all this, you could save it, and then on a later moment you can just call it back. Then you have to fill in the verification code, and then you can click on withdraw. And then you maybe wonder what the withdrawal fees will be. Well, over $5,000, it's for free. And it doesn't matter how often you withdraw. And under $5,000 value, you get one free withdrawal per week. And I think this is really nice because this means that you can move your currency from FTX to your regular bank account with no costs. And if you would like to withdraw more often than once per week, an amount less than $5,000 and the minimum withdrawal amount is $100 value, then you have to pay these transaction costs per currency. But I would just stick to the one free withdrawal per week. Although you could earn another free withdrawal per week if you stake FTT. And now we're going to talk about the transaction costs and what the FTX token can do for you. And FTX is a low cost crypto exchange, so the trading fees are very low, and the maximum you would pay is 0.02% for the maker and 0.07% for the taker. And I will explain in a different video what the difference is between the maker and the taker fees. Link is in the top right corner. And there are multiple ways to lower your trading fees. And the first one is your monthly volume. But let's be honest, who has more than $2 million of volume each month? Almost nobody. So we will skip that one. And then we come to the first way of saving on your trading fees, and that's by holding the FTX token, which is FTT. And the more you will hold, the higher the discount is that you will get. And note that it's a dollar value, so not the number of FTT you hold, but the dollar value they have. So if the value of FTT goes up, your discount could go up. And there's more you can do with the FTX token. And therefore I made an overview and I tried to simplify it as much as possible, and I really hope it helps. And I made the assumption that you don't have more volume than $2 million each month. And this would then be your starting trading fees. And when you open an account, you gotta make sure you use the discount link in the description for a 5% lifetime discount on your trading fees. And if you don't use the link, you will never get this 5% extra discount. And there are two links, one for FTX and one for FTX US, which is for people in the United States. And you can further lower your trading fees by staking FTT. Because if you stake 25 FTT, your maker fee will become 0. Yes, you heard it right. 0, nada. And at current price being around $40, it will cost you around $1,000 to have a 0% maker fee. And that's not all, because, and now it gets a little bit complicated, when you stake FTT, it influences your maker fees and the total dollar position of FTT, staked or not staked, influence your taker fees. And that's the table I showed you before. And if it's more than $100, you get a 3% discount. In this case, it's more than $1,000 because it's just worth at this moment just a little bit more than $40. You get a 5% discount. And in yellow, I showed the trading fees that I have because I personally staked 25 FTT. And I would like to increase that to 150 FTT. And the discount in the trading fees is not the main reason. I will explain that later. And with 150 FTT, you will get a slightly negative maker fee. So when you're the maker of the trade, you get money when you're trading. And because the dollar value is more than $5,000, you will get a 10% discount on your taker fees. And if it will get more than $10,000, you will get a 15% discount. And this continues here But now I would like to dive in the other advantages you have when you stake FTT. And I made an overview for that. Hopefully it helps. And here the number of FTT which are staked are listed. And when you have 0 FTT staked, your maker fee will be 0.02%. The number of free crypto withdrawals is 0. And the number of free fiat withdrawals is already 1 per week. You don't have an airdrop increase. And you also don't have a IEO ticket, which is a initial exchange offering. And here I listed the initial offerings from the past. And if you have such a ticket, you can sign in for the opening price. And as you can see, the opening price on average is quite lower than at the end of the first trading day. So you can make some money there. Although results from the past are no guarantee for the future. And the last things I listed is serum airdrops. When you own a certain number of staked FTT, you will get free serum, which is locked for 1 to 7 years. And I personally staked 25 FTT at this moment. And by the way, for staking FTT, your registration level needs to be at KYC level 2. So you know. And when you stake 25 FTT, your maker fee gets 0. You get 1 free crypto withdrawal per week, which I think is really, really nice. You get 1 more free fiat withdrawal per week. You have an airdrop increase of 2% and you don't have an IEO ticket or serum airdrops. And if you then stake 150 FTT, which I would like to have, your maker fee gets slightly negative. You get 3 free crypto withdrawals per day. Your airdrop increases to 4% and you get 1 IEO ticket. And that's the main reason why I would like to own 150 FTT and stake them. And maybe you realize that when it's blue, the number changes, and when it's white, it stays the same. And this becomes more clear when I continue, because if you further increase the FTT holdings which are staked, those will stay the same, but your IEO tickets will increase until a maximum of 6. And what furthermore changes is the serum airdrops. And this gets a little bit complicated, because for the serum airdrops, FTT does not have to be staked. So for every 500 FTT you own, you get 3 serum airdrops per week. But if you would stake for, let's say, 500 FTT, you will get a 4% increase on your airdrop. So you will get 3 serum plus 4% of those 3. And I will make this list complete. And if you stake more FTT, the maker fee will get a bit more negative. And to be clear, a negative maker fee is money you will get. Free crypto withdrawals will increase. Free fiat withdrawals will stay constant at 2. But remember, fiat withdrawals above $5,000 are free anyway. Your airdrop increase will get higher. Your IEO tickets will stay constant at 6. And as I said earlier, I would like to have 150 FTT for my first IEO ticket. But if I see the opportunity to increase it even more, I would like to have multiple IEO tickets. And lastly, the serum airdrops. For every 500 FTT you own, you will get 3 serum a week. So now you know everything about staking FTT. So let's look at the platform for our first trade. And therefore you will go to Wallet. You click on Portfolio, and then you will go to the main account. And here all your balances are listed in your main account. And if you would click Hide Zero Balances, you can see that there's 100 euros in my main account. And the nice thing about FTX is that you can create sub-accounts, which I have a couple. And you can create one by clicking this plus, typing in a name, create sub-account, and then you created a sub-account. And I have a trading sub-account where I will do my leverage trades, and I can have multiple trades in this sub-account. I have a testing account where I will do testing for this YouTube channel. I will also use this account in this video. Then I have a blue pot, and that's very important because here I have my no leverage, low risk stuff. So that would be euros, dollars. Also my staked FTT is in here. I have some Tether gold in here. And I will use my blue trading account to buy it and then transfer it to my blue pot, because I don't want to have any open orders in this account because there's no risk. And the reason for that is that I went short by accident on Ripple in my trading account because I forgot to remove some orders. So I don't want to have any open orders in my blue pot. And as I said, you can move crypto or fiat or tokenized stocks between sub-accounts. So let's move those euros to the testing sub-account. And then you click on those two arrows. And then you select the coin you want to use. And you can type in here and then it will search. So we select euros. We go from our main account to our sub-account, which is testing. We will do the maximum, and then you click on transfer. And then you see that on my main account, they disappeared. And on my test account, there is now 100 euros. And in theory, you could buy Bitcoin with euros because Bitcoin is also trading in euros. But all the other cryptocurrencies are trading in US dollars or in USD Tether. So I would like to convert my euros into American dollars. And you can do that in two ways. The first way, and the easy way, is to use the quick converter on the home page. And then you have to fill in from euros to American dollars. Let's say, let's convert 90 euros. And then you get an offer, and if you would then click convert, your euros are converted into American dollars. And look at the number because it's 94.26. And the second way you could do it is that you go to the trading pair Euro USD and you sell euros, you sell the 90 euros, and then you will get 94.89. And that's around 60 cents more. So that's like a bit more as 0.5% more. So you can use the quick converter on the home page, but remember, you will pay a pretty high fee when you use it. And I understand this could be a bit overwhelming, but don't worry, I will walk you through. And at first we sell euros, so we buy dollars, and yes, I would like to buy. And if you then go to your portfolio, you can see that in my testing account I have 10 euros and I have some US dollars. So I bought US dollars. And with those dollars you could buy crypto. And I will show you how you can do that. And let's say you would like to buy the FTX token, FTT. Then you can type in this search bar FTT and it will find it. Or you can just type in the name FTX token and it will also find it. Then you click on it. And then with this little star, you can make it one of your favorites. And if you then go to here, it will show all your favorites. So you don't have to always search in the search box. And I will just walk you through everything you see. And this chart is from TradingView. And you can change the time scale over here. Let's say a daily. You could compare it to other stuff. Let's say Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever you would like. You can add indicators, moving averages, everything you need. And what you also see in this chart is arrows. And every blue one is a buy order and every red one is a sell order. And here I explained, or I made videos about all the orders that exist on FTX, as you can see here. And in the top right corner, there is now a link to a playlist where I explain all the order types. And I even made a separate video about all the buy orders. And in that video, I explain when you could use which buy order. And in those videos, I will explain you how to fill it all in and what everything means. And then on the left, you have the order book. And in green, there are the buy orders. And this is then the price for which people would like to buy. And this is the amount they would like to buy. And in red is the price for which people would like to sell. And then this is the amount they would like to sell. In a different video, I'll explain the order book in more detail. Link is in the top right corner. And for now, I'm just going to use market orders. And with that, you're going to buy for the lowest ask price. And you click buy. Yes, I would like to buy. And then you can see in the overview that I've bought 0.3 FTT. And by the way, I said I would like to buy more FTT, but it wouldn't surprise me if it would get below this button. So I'm just waiting to buy more FTT. And then you could already place a limit buy order. So let's do that. And then you select limit order. And then let's say you would like to buy for $20. And again, 0.3 FTT. And if you then click buy, yes. Then you can see your order under the open orders. But you can also see it in the chart. And you can move it around and then adjust it. Then you will get a pop-up screen. And then you can click modify order. And then your order is modified. And if you then move to wallet and click on portfolio, you have your portfolio overview and all the positions which are in this sub account, which is called testing. And we could add some more positions. So let's add Bitcoin, because it's a crypto exchange. So what we do without Bitcoin. Then again, we're gonna buy with a market order, and I would like to buy around $10. So that's this, and it's a market order. Then you click buy, and let's add some Ethereum as well. Yes, and again, let's buy around $10. Yes. Market order, and you click buy, and then you can see in your wallet that we've added some Bitcoin and some Ethereum. And then we'll quickly add some more positions, and you could add even gold, Tether gold. Let's also buy around $10, and it's a market buy. Yes. And you can buy tokenized stock, and let's say Tesla USD. And also we like to buy with a market order, and we would like to buy or also around $10. And we could add some Alibaba. And it's also a tokenized stock. Am I Alibaba? Yes. And we would like to use a market order, and also around $10. Yes. Yes. And if we then go to portfolio, we could see this overview. And I'm not saying this is the perfect portfolio. I just want to show you what's possible on the FTX crypto exchange and how you can use the sub accounts. And by the way, you could have a separate sub accounts for the stocks or for crypto or for a long-term investment. It's your choice. And maybe you noticed that prices went down a bit because it's a couple days later and everything went down, the stock market, crypto. And I expected when Bitcoin would break the bottom at 30,000 that FTT would break this bottom, but it didn't happen. So I will remove this order, and you can do this by clicking this cross, or you can scroll down under open orders and click on this throwaway sign. And then we'll go back to the portfolio, and I want to tell you something very interesting, because on FTX you can get an interest on almost everything. Sounds too good to be true? Let me explain. And for the US dollars, this button lend at 1% says that you can lend out your US dollars at the yearly rate of 1%. And usually it's between 3 and 5. And when you have huge market movements, just like it happened that Bitcoin went under 30,000, this interest rate went up to 20%. Although it went down quite hard again. But when you have loaned out your US dollars, you will get an average in the year, and I think it's between 3 and 5%. So let's click it, and then you have to decide how much you would like to loan out. I would say $20, so not the full amount. And then you have to specify the minimum interest rate you would like to get, and you could set it as a yearly rate in percentage, or you could set it as an hourly rate, and it has a different unit, which is 1 per 10,000. And the interest will be paid out every hour. So let's click save. And now we loaned out $20, and you could also see that the availability went down $20. And if you would like to stop lending out, you will click on lend again, and you will put here 0, and you will click on save, or you can click stop lending. Or you could decide if you would like to lend out only 10, and you then click on save. And then you have to wait 1 hour, and then the system has changed it. And we will move from US dollars to euros. Because with euros, this button is here missing. But then I will show you a little trick. Because if you type in here the Euro USD trading pair, and you scroll down, and you look under balances, you could see here for the euro that you can lend it out for 0.88%. And interest rate for the euro is usually lower than the dollars, and it's usually around 1%. And if you click on it, it works exactly the same way. And before starting this video, I didn't know this was possible, and I tested it out, and it works. So you can use it. I also wrote FTX email. So probably when you watch this video, there's a button over here that you can lend out your euros. And the currencies you can earn interest on is the US dollar, the euro, the British pound, the Canadian dollar, USD Tether, which is a stable coin, and other stable coins. And probably there will be more currencies following. The other interesting thing I learned making this video is that you can own gold on FTX. And that's Tether Gold. And Tether Gold is a digital token backed by physical gold. And they have a website. And they also have a white paper on that website. And I recommend you to read it before buying it. And also read the important considerations. And the fancy thing about Tether Gold is that you can lend it out. So you can earn interest on gold. And that's very interesting comparing to owning physical and having to pay for storage. And another thing I learned making this video is the tokenized stock. I know it existed. I didn't look into it, but for this video, I really looked into it, and it's quite interesting. The first thing I didn't know is that you can earn a dividend on FTX. So if the stock pays a dividend, it will be paid out on FTX. And the second thing is that you can lend it out as well. So on Alibaba and Tesla, you can lend it out for 0.88%. This interest rate can also change every hour, although it's quite constant at 0.88%. And if you scroll upwards and you click on margin lending, and you scroll down and you look at my lending history, you could see the interest rate payments, because I just loaned out $20, and at this time I got this dollar amount, and for every hour it will show. And then I will show you one last thing about the Subaccounts, is that if you click view all account balances, you see the balances of all Subaccounts together. And this could be the total, or this could be the total USD value. And I think it's very handy. And another thing good to know is how to change the language. And these are the languages which are available. And another very important thing is the support desk. And here you can write a support ticket. And you can choose a subject, and if you have any problem or issue, you can write them. And I got a response between 6 minutes and 6 days, but the 6 days was a list of long questions, so they took some time, but they're really willing to help you out if you have a problem. So better use it if you need to. And the next thing I would like to explain are the advanced orders. It's a bit more advanced, but it's very useful, and I'm using it a lot, so stick with me. And I will use FTT for it, because if you scroll down, you see the order screen, and you see all the orders here which you can use and which I talked about earlier. But if you would click this little calculator, you will go to the advanced order screen, and there you have two possibilities, a market or a limit. In this example, I will use a limit order, and here you can set your entry, your take profit, and your stop loss level in one go. So let's say you would like to buy at 25, take profit at 40, and you would like be your stop loss at 19.5, and then it automatically calculates your potential profit and your potential loss and your risk reward ratio. If this goes a bit fast, I explain it better in a different video. Link is in the top right corner. If you then click place orders, then you see, if you scroll up in the chart, that there are 3 orders placed. When you want to remove them, remember that you have to remove each one separately. And this order type also exists on the sell side. This is going short. I will explain it in a different video. Link is in the top right corner. But if you're looking to trade crypto, the advanced orders are very, very useful, because you can set the levels beforehand and you can just move away from your screen and do something else. So now you're ready to set up your account and to place your first orders and to trade crypto, stocks, or even gold. But the question is, what's all listed on FTX? And I'm here, went to markets and clicked on all markets. And first I want to go to Fiat because there are 11 different fiat currencies listed. And on 4 of them, at this point, you can earn interest, and maybe that will change in the future. And there are over 100 different cryptos listed, and FTX will keep on adding more of them. And I think all of them also have a perpetual futures contract, but I'm not sure if it's all of them. Later in this video, I will explain the difference between the perpetual futures contract and the spot trading and what you should know about it. And by the way, crypto is trading in multiple currencies. So if you look at the Japanese yen and you turn off the dollar, these are the cryptos which are trading in Japanese dollar. And the same holds for Bitcoin itself. Because some cryptos you can buy with Bitcoin. So if you have Bitcoin, you can just buy Ethereum directly with your Bitcoin. And then we move to the tokenized stocks. And there are 45 stocks listed on FTX, with some big names like Tesla, Twitter, Facebook, Alibaba, and even a tokenized stocks on the S&P 500, so you can own a part of the index. And earlier I showed you that you could own Tether Gold, but FTX also has GLD, and it's this one, and this tracks the price of gold, and SLV, which tracks the price of silver. And that's this one. And on both of them, you can earn interest. And they even have GDX, is this one. And that's the Van Eck Vectors Gold Miners ETF. So with tokenized stocks, you can have a position in gold miners. And if you would put a G behind it, you will end up with the junior gold miners. It's a tokenized stock. And then we move to the more advanced stuff, and therefore I will go back to all markets. Because you have the leveraged tokens, and with the leveraged tokens you can have a leveraged positions long or short on some crypto. I don't use them, I just trade with margin, and I'm not sure what the advantage of them are actually. I never investigated it, but if I did and I made a video about it, it's now in the top right corner. And then you can have a position on the volatility of Bitcoin. And if the volatility goes up or down, and you can have a prediction if Trump is going to win the 2024 election. But most interested is now the difference between spot trading of crypto or trading perpetual futures. What should you do? Well, what's a future? A future is a contract to deliver something in the future. So if we would look at June 2022, if you would buy this Bitcoin future, you buy the right to get Bitcoin in June 2022. But we're talking about perpetual futures. And perpetual means never ending. So those futures don't have a deliver date. So let's look at Bitcoin perpetual future. And there's one big difference with spot trading, and that's the funding rate. Because as you can read over here, a positive funding rate means users with long positions pay users with short positions at the displayed rate. So if this number is positive, long positions need to pay short positions, and if it's negative, it's the other way around. And this percentage could even get a bit higher at 0.0030%. But this is an hourly rate. So if you hold futures for a long time, it could get quite expensive. And I made a complete overview to show you the difference between spot trading and trading perpetual futures. And hopefully it will help you to make the right choice. And perpetual futures always have a maximum leverage of 20x. And if you trade on spot, the leverage depends on the coin, but it's always much lower than the 20x. And if you're trading perpetual futures, you can trade the Binance coin with 20x leverage on FTX. And FTX also created crypto indices, so you can have a position in a sector instead of buying one or two coins or tokens and hoping that they will outperform the sector. And I will use the example of the exchange perpetual future, and this consists of 5 exchange tokens, and you cannot trade the index on spot, or you have to buy each coin individually, and most indices have way more than 5 of them, so it's hard to do, but you can trade the perpetual future with 20x leverage. And there are multiple indices with different sectors, so there's the decentralized finance index, the privacy index, the mid-cap index, and this one consists of the mid-range of crypto by market capitalization. And if you would think that, for example, the decentralized finance will do good, you could trade the perpetual future. And then we come to lending out. If you're trading on spot, you can lend out your crypto, your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, and when you're holding a perpetual future, you cannot lend it out. But instead, you have the funding rates. And as I showed previously, you could either pay or receive money. And if you have a long position, I don't know on average what it will be. So it could actually be that you can earn money with the funding rates holding long positions. And usually the funding rates are way higher than the lending out. So it could actually be a positive thing, but I actually don't know. So I leave that up to you. And then you have the staking. You can stake spot and you cannot stake perpetual futures. And lastly, you have to reduce only possibility, and therefore we move to the order screen. And we're now looking at the perpetual future of the FTX token. And I must admit, this is a bit more advanced, so this will be tricky. And here you have the reduce only button. And if you click it, then the order will only be executed if it can reduce your position. And this could be a long position or a short position. So if you would like to buy one FTT and you click buy, then the order will only be executed if you have a short position. And with the sell order, it's the other way around. I hope this is clear. Maybe I will make a short video about it to explain it more explicitly. And really the last thing is going short, because it's not possible when you're trading with spot. And it is with perpetual futures. And I'm using perpetual futures, so I forgot that it's not possible with spot trading. But be aware, going short is more risky than going long. And what's also is more advanced and more risky is using leverage, using margin. And I will show you now how you can do that on the FTX platform. And to show this, I created a new sub-account, which is testing 2, and I put $100 in it. And when you want to use margin, you first need to activate it. And therefore you go to settings, and you click on margin trading, and then you have to click enable spot margin trading. And then you have to choose the amount of leverage you would like. And I just say it again, margin trading is extremely risky, so you can blow up your account easily. So let's say we would like to have 10x leverage, and if you will go back to your portfolio, and I really advise, by the way, if you trade leverage, to use a sub account and use the leverage in that sub account, because when you use leverage, you risk to lose all the money you put in. But let's say we will look at Bitcoin spot, and then you gotta make sure you check this box of margin trading. If you click at 100%, the maximum you can get is around 8.8 times $100, which is in this sub account is around this number. And then it's not 10, but therefore you have to buy the perpetual future. And if you then click on 100%, it's 10 times 100 is 1,000. And the maximum leverage you can use is 20x. And I made an overview about things you can trade on FTX and the maximum leverage you can use. And I already discussed the cryptos, so I will move to the tokenized stock, the S&P 500 and GDX. And it's 5.5x for spot trading and 10x for the futures, although they're not perpetual. So the futures have an end date, so you should either take delivery or roll them over to a later date. Then gold 7.3, and it has a perpetual future which has a different code, be aware of that. Then you have GLD and SLV 5.5 and 10x, and again it's not perpetual. The currencies, you can trade them with 10x. I personally would not trade currencies on FTX, but it is possible, so I will mention it. And what I found interesting is that the Brazilian digital token has a perpetual future, so this means that you could also go short. And then a final word about liquidity. If you really want to buy millions of leveraged gold, then it could be that liquidity is limited. And I will explain in a different video how you can see liquidity in a market. And then the question is, what does it cost to use margin? And you can see that under margin borrowings. And here you see the hourly rate which you have to pay when you use US dollars for margin. And if you multiply this by 24, 365, and 100 to make it a percentage, you will come around 2%. And if we compare that to the rate which you will get if you lend out your US dollars, you can see that on the margin lending, which is 1.5, which makes sense. It's a bit more expensive to borrow US dollars than to lend them out. And this percentage can change every hour, and it could go up significantly. So now you know where you can find it, what the cost will be if you use margin. And then I will show some more fancy stuff, because you can change the layout of your trading platform if you want to. And that's what you can do here. As you can see, I didn't do it. What I also didn't do, which is really for the pros, is the quant zone. Because here you can make your own bot. Here you can make software which will do the trading for you. I hope you got something out of this video. It was a lot of work to put it together, so a like is really appreciated. And if you want to know everything about the FTX crypto exchange, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.